Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fogg's Cards and Things. Looks like we're ready to break our boxes. But before we do that, be sure to follow our Instagram and Facebook pages to get notified when we're going live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified about new videos. And join the Discord for a first look at cards before they hit eBay. But enough about that. We got boxes to break and cards to rip. So, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, let's get ripping.
Welcome back to Fogg's Cards and Things. We're going to be ripping a box of 1990 NFL Score. Got Anthony Carter, Troy Benson on the front. Stafford, Wyman on the back there. No big names on this box, so hopefully that's not a sign of what's to come. If you missed Series 1, I'm going to show you a couple of our hits, and we're going to keep them out on our stands here for good luck. The Bo Jackson, Ground Force, Deion Sanders, Joe Montana, and Steve Young. So I'm going to keep Bo and Joe out front here to look over us as we open these packs. I'm going to show you the different covers, kind of like the other one, Series 1. I don't think these are specific players. You know, this one looks like it could be a 49er. This one could be a Lion, but 22 is not Barry Sanders. A Denver Bronco. And 24 for the Vikings. We're going to open up a pack of them, just see if they look any different from that Series 1. All right, so these cards look about the same. John Elway on the hot gun, so that's already a difference. David Fulcher on the All-Pro. We didn't have any All-Pros. So that's kind of a neat card. What do you think about the new way they do the Pro Bowl? Feels more like a joke to me. I used to like seeing them in their jerseys with their helmets from their team, but the common jersey. Really enjoyed that. The new way Pro Bowl just doesn't feel like it's worth watching. I understand doing it, you know, the way they are, but not my favorite thing. Scott Mitchell there on a rookie. Leonard Griffin for the Chiefs. Michael Ball, Ernie Jones. All right, so now we're going to go back to our 3 packs at a time. See what else we can pull out of here. All right. Frank Reich, quarterback for the Bills. Guy McIntyre for the 49ers. Biner, Lee, Williams, Gene. Whoa, record breakers. Joe Montana. Haven't been good about sleeving up cards. See, Joe's watching over us. We've already got a Joe Montana, and we've just started. Very awesome. That was a record breaker for when he passed Plum. Kennard, Van Horn. Don't know who he is, but he looks happy. Tim Ryan, Ron Cox, Don Griffin, Ernie Jones, Walker Lee Ashley, Warren, Tim Brown. It's a good card. Receiver for the Raiders. Being our receivers club. First one there. Edmonds, Lewis Sharp, or Luis Sharp. Reamers, Wilkerson, Eddie Murray, Pro Bowl kicker. Tony Jordan, Reggie Williams, Bortz, Dexter Carter for the rookie. Had a few good years. Mike Jones, Art Still, Bauer, Turner, Mack, Walter, Robinson, Thornton, Merriweather, Mecklenburg, Mike Singletary, Pro Bowl, Lawrence Taylor, All-Pro, Jeff Gossett, Troy Benson, Keith Willis, Dennis Brown, Greg McMurtry, rookie coming out of Michigan, Pragan, Mike Horan. So if you collected cards or ripped during this time, what were the cards you looked for? What were you trying to get? I can tell you, most of them that I got or I was after, we've already seen. You know, the Joe Montanas, Steve Youngs, Deion Sanders. I don't know if they're in this series, but we pulled them Series 1. The main difference is I see the All-Pros and maybe some record breakers. I don't know if Joe Montana is the only one from this series or if that was something they put out afterwards. And I also noticed there's no Super Bowl trivia inserts, which saves me. Galloway, Williams, Tillman, Jr., Lang, Perry Williams, Ted Hendricks on the Hall of Famer card, Fred Banks, Henry Thomas, Chet Brooks for the 49ers, Blair Thomas, class of 1990, Anthony Thompson, Harold Green, Bauer again, Turner, Winder, Pierce Holt for the 49ers, Ron Rivera. I'll put that over there. Sammy Martin, Jackson, Jerry Gray on the All-Pro, Lewis, Mecklenburg, Henry Thomas, Wolfley, Sewell, Charles Arbuckle, Tim Grunhard, who's an awesome center for the Chiefs for a long time. Doesn't say. Anyway, it's a good rookie. Broussard, Eason, Reynolds, Studwell, Robinson, Tim Irwin, Fagan, Keith Jackson, Jim Lambert on the Hall of Famer, Hilgenberg, All-Pro, Spencer, Jesse Sapolo. He was a great lineman for the 49ers. Linemen don't get enough credit. Keith McCants, class of 1990 with Tampa Bay. Mark Carrier rookie card. Wow. No, he was a rookie in this year either. Vince Buck, All-Pro. Reynolds, Hogboom, Don Mosbar. Appreciate it if you'd like the video, subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing, but like I always say, it means the world to me. Know that people are interacting with the video. Makes me want to keep making videos. So if you follow, subscribe, like, I'd appreciate it. If you see a card you'd like, message us, comment. I always see the comments. Do our best to get it to you. Looks like we hopefully don't have. Let's see if the first one on there is Steve Berline. We've got a repeat back. Yep, and it is Steve Berline. Sammy Smith, Leonard Marshall, Tillman, Schuler, Washington, Super Bowl card. Don't know what that is. Mark Carrier for the Buccaneers. Winston Moss, Tony Woods, David Wyman, McCant, Darrell Thompson, Mark Carrier again. That's the third Mark Carrier. Mike Webster, Courtney Hall, Studwell, Don Warren, Ken Sims, Chris Martin for the Chiefs. Larry Roberts for the 49ers. Record breaker, Joe Montana again. We'll just go ahead and sleeve him up. Yeah, this would be a good time to comment that you'd like the Joe Montana card. That's our second one, so we have a duplicate. All right, Andre Waters, Eric Martin, Ronaldo Turnbull for the Saints, Aaron Wallace, Eric Green, tied in for the Steelers, I think, Matt McMillan, Don Griffin, Ernie Jones, Steve Berline, Sammy Smith, Leonard Marshall. This is the exact same pack almost, except the record breaker's different. Steve Largent, Bruce Matthews, center, All-Pro, 25 on the Super Bowl card. It's the same card we had down there. Mark Ingram with the Giants, Gossett, Wiltshire, Jones, Sims, Castilla, Fike, Reisenberg, Mike Webster again. I don't know if you've noticed it. I'm going to clear some of these comments off. We really haven't got any running backs and not too many quarterbacks. We've got 2 Joe Montana cards, a John Elway card. Haven't really seen many skill players out of this set so far. Although we're a quarter of the way in, so we still have a while to go. Who would be your favorite person if you were ripping through these? Who would you want to see? What player or team? You know, growing up, it was always the Chiefs. Any Chiefs that I got. It didn't matter how often they played. To me, they were just an NFL player. And I know it irritates some people when I say, oh, he only had a few good years or things like that. But it's really just in the context of the rest of the football players. Obviously, they're more talented physically than I ever was. Low Miller, Rufus Porter, Kevin Green for the Rams. Roy Wilkerson, Bo Jackson record breakers. Wow. That's a neat card. Bob Greasy on the Hall of Famer, quarterback for the Dolphins. Bob St. Clair. Those seem to go in spurts. Doug Smith, William Howard, Van Horn, Ron Cox, Dexter Carter again. Greg Cragen, Otis Anderson, heck of a running back for the Giants. Ernest Givens, Urban Fryer, good receiver for the Patriots. Courtney Hall, McNeil, Ken Sims, Chris Martin. Tim Harris, linebacker for Green Bay. Millard, Reggie White. Fernandez, Thomas, Wolfley. Tim Ryan, Lewis, Ed Reynolds, Dan Fike, Johnny Hector, Chris Moore, Mike Saxon, Schroeder, Barry Sanders with the All-Pro, and the Joe Montana with the All-Pro, back-to-back. Awesome cards. It's really exciting right there. And Christian Okoye right behind him. Wow. 3 in a row. We got record breakers Joe Montana, All-Pro Joe Montana. Eric Green, Keith Sims, Winder, Fike, Reisenberg. All right, this will probably about take us to the halfway mark here. See what we've got. Joe Kelly, Nick Lowry, kicker for the Chiefs. Robinson, Billups, Lyles, John Hain, Randall Cunningham for the Eagles. Mecklenburg with the Crunch Crew. Kind of like that. I'm going to say that with the Defenders, even though I don't really remember it being too much. Herschel Walker on the Ground Force. I haven't seen any ground forces. That's the first one. Glenn Barton, Andre Ware. He was a promising young quarterback. Rand, Lewis, Reynolds, Sammy Smith, Thornton, Franco Harris, Hall of Famer. Bob St. Clair again. Tom Landry. It's a cool variation. I don't know if I would assume they're not inserts. Usually you can tell if it just has the regular sequential number with the set. I don't think there's any inserts in these. Greg McMurtry is a promising receiver out of Michigan. Blair Thomas, Pat Beach, Derek Thomas. Wow. Definitely one that I keep to the side there. Chip Lowe, Miller, Gruber, Johnson. Whoa, Crunch Crew, Derek Thomas. Wow. Yeah, we're still short on running backs, but we have picked up on the rest of these. That is a very cool card for the time. You know, this is 1990. Keep that in mind. I think it was late 90s before they ever got anything else cool like that. Randall Cunningham. Tim Harris, linebacker again for the Packers. Swell, Jones, Leroy Butler, Eric Green, Arbuckle, Walker Ashley for the Chiefs, Pat Beach. Wow, those were some pretty good hits right there. That Derek Thomas, man, that card is sweet. We hadn't seen any of those for a while. And the hot guns or ground forces have been pretty far and few between. So maybe it's a good sign here that we're getting further into this box, we might get some. Mark Rippon there, quarterback for the Redskins. Caldwell, Jarvis Williams, Danny Copeland for the Chiefs. Braxton, Ray Horton, Mike Singletary with the All-Pro. Lawrence Taylor with the All-Pro. Tim Harris again, Lockhart, Martin, Kemp, Alton Montgomery, Andre Ware, Bern Brostick, Mosbar, Kelly, Xander, Mike Quick, Louise Sharp. Here we go with our Hall of Famers. Mecklenburg again. Ooh, Crunch Crew, Lawrence Taylor. I just might sleeve that one up too, just because. I just like the way those cards look. Deron Cherry for the Chiefs. Fred Banks, William Howard, Jeff George rookie card. He had a few good seasons as a quarterback. Jesse Anderson, Conklin, Jim Burt, Studwell, Don Warren, Low Miller, Tillman, Schuler, Washington, Chris Dolman with the All-Pro. Dave Meggett, running back. Rod Woodson, kick returner. I'm just going to put him on. Let's just put him on the defense. It's more of an offensive position they have him listed at, but. Mark Carrier, free safety. Aaron Cox, Randy Dixon, and Nelson. Well, we've got some pretty cool cards now. Just moving some of these commons out of the way. If you're still with us, which I definitely appreciate, I hope you'll consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, be notified when we go live or add new videos. Costs you nothing, even if you're not the type to normally subscribe. It really means a lot to have people that subscribe to your videos. Makes you want to keep making them and having fun. Although, really, I get enough just from the nostalgia value of seeing some of the people I collected as kids. So, but I would appreciate it if you do. Irvin Randall, Ron Rivera, Baker, Sims, Lambert, Hendricks, Buck Buchanan. He was a Chief, I believe. Zimmerman, Tony Woods, McCants, Eric Green, James Williams, Jonathan Hayes, the Chief. All right. Big Neil Smith. He always did the bat swing. You know, when he made a good play. Definitely liked watching Neil Smith. Strickland, Mack, Herndon, Bryant, Ron Rivera, Sammy Martin, Dustin Jackson, Zimmerman, Mark Carrier again, I think we have that one. Cunningham, I think we have that one. Tony Jordan, Albert Lewis for the Chiefs, Fernandez, Andre Collins, Cox, Jones, Edmonds, Eddie Brown, Wes Hopkins, Ray Horton, Chris Chandler, quarterback for the Colts, Mike Singletary, we've already got that one. Art Monk with the Rocket Man, that's something we haven't seen much of. I don't know what that is, but I'm just going to sleeve it up. Goes along sequentially with the base set, so it's not an insert or anything, but I don't think we've seen any of those. I don't know if that's a official thing they do with other players or just him. Vince Buck, Dan Fike, Aaron Cox, Randy Dixon. All right. That'll put us probably, well, after this one, about 2/3 of the way done. What do you think the biggest hit has been? If you were opening these up, what would have been your favorite card to pull? Drop that comment and maybe we can work out something to make sure you get that card. We do list some of them on eBay, but if you join the Discord, you can know beforehand, get a look at them, or drop a comment, we'll know. Al Toon, wide receiver for the Jets. EJ Jr., Lang, Williams, Millard, Reggie White. I don't know if we have that one all pro or not. And Dolman, I'm pretty sure we do. Wolf, Grimsley, Heath Sherman, Mark Carrier, Otis Anderson, Scribner, Cox, Hallstrom, Bruce Armstrong, Nickerson, Tippett, Hilgenberg, Bruce Matthews, Tom Newberry, Bill Romanowski, feared defender. Still short on running backs. Actually, quarterbacks as well. Mike Kinn, Mr. Excited right there. Bruce Brostek, Ronaldo Turnbull, Fred Washington, Mike Webster for the Chiefs. That's probably the third one we've got of him. Jim Burt, Gruber, Pepper Johnson, linebacker for the Giants. Ferndon, Billups, Lyles, Hand, Lindetta, Lockhart, Martin, Perry Kemp, Rembert, Percy Snow for the Chiefs, class of 1990, Richmond Webb, Buford, William Refrigerator Perry, and Mosbar. We're going to empty out this box and just see how many packs we have left altogether. Alright, that's not too bad. I think probably 3 more times. Alright, let's see what we've got here. Eddie Brown, Hopkins, Sasson, Armstrong, Nickerson, Tippett. There are other Rocket Men. And that's our man, Jerry Rice. Art Monk again behind him for the duplicate. Mark Carrier on the Rocket Man. We'll put him with the receivers just because we don't have very many. Deron Cherry, Leroy Butler, Buford, Kay, Rocker, Morgan, Altoon, Stratford, Schroeder, Forcade, Meads, Mark Carrier, Randall Cunningham, Mecklenburg, Roper, Scott Mitchell, quarterback rookie, Via, Kelm, Davis, Hall, Lawrence Tillman, Xander, Mike Quick, Meggett, Rod Woodson, Linda, Anthony Johnson, Jeff George on the rookie card, Sean Jones, Doug Flutie, quarterback for the Patriots, and Leo Lewis. Get a stack of these commons out of the way. While we're getting organized here, be a good time to go ahead and like that video, subscribe to the channel, show a little love, get down tonight. Yeah, that Rocket Man Jerry Rice was a good pull there toward the end. All right, let's see what we've got here. See if we can get any more offensive players. There haven't been a ton. Joe Kelly, Mark Logan, Randall, Horton, Nick Murray. There we go. An all-pro. Barry Sanders. Looking good, Barry. Let's put you down here so it looks like we have a few more running backs. Christian Okoye with the all-pro. Joe Wolf, Grimsley, Arthur, Alexander Wright, Lamar Latham rookie card, Sammy Winder, Jim Burt, Doug Flutie again, Nick Lowry, Robinson. Anybody who knows me knows I take every Chief. Doesn't really matter. Got another Bam card. And a smash for old Mike Singletary. It's exciting. Another bash there. Tim Harris. I'll just leave it up. I don't know too much about Tim Harris, but we'll sleeve him. Fred Strickland. Mark Ingram from the Giants. He's a good receiver. Jesse Sapolo. Turnbull. Wallace, Eric Green, Al Harris, J.T. Smith, Ricky Jackson. Good linebacker there for the Saints. Grimes, Zimmerman, as Keith Jackson. Van Horn, Gardner. So far, if you stuck with us and watched the Series 1 as well as this video, I would say Series 1 had a lot more hits. I don't know if it's more expensive. Joe Montana with the All-Pro. Jerry Rice with the All-Pro right behind him. Very nice. Roper, Spencer, Sapolo, Castillas, Terry Wooden, Harold Green. So this will be the last stack from the 1990 Score Series 2. And just when I was saying, I thought the other series was better, at least as far as offensive players and more cards, I think. From that standpoint, that series was better. There are some good hits in this one. I've enjoyed this a lot. Those BAM cards are a nice addition. I don't remember other sets really having those this early. 1990. It was pretty early on. All right, let's enjoy this last stack here of this vintage football collection here. Mike Saxon, Hal Strong, Gruber, Tyrone Braxton, Fagan, Tippett, Jerry Rice again on the Rocket Man. I'm just going to sleeve every one of those. I'm sure eventually there will be somebody that comments that they'd like a Jerry Rice or the Joe Montana. Kennard, Sherman, Benson, Ron Cox, Carter, Cragen, Nelson, Buford, Refrigerator Perry, Jay Schroeder, 4K, Johnny Meads, Rod Woodson, Reg White, another All-Pro. Got Barry Sanders All-Pros on tops, on bottoms. I'm putting them on the bottom. Make it look like we've got some running backs when we do our recap. Art Still, Carricker, Willis, Bobby Butler, Alton Montgomery, Joe Morris, Lamar Latham, Derek Thomas again. All right. Tragic, young life cut short. Sad tragedy, old Derek Thomas. Leo Lewis, Jonathan Hayes, Neil Smith. I'm just going to sleeve this one up. I don't know if I sleeved the other one up, but Neil Smith is probably one of those local cases where I don't know if any of you followed him, as much as any of us did, being from here. Chris Martin again with the Chiefs. Larry Roberts, Telschik, Bob Greasy, 25. The Lombardi legend, Hinkle, Ricky Sanders, Keith DeLong, Jimmy Jones, Jesse Anderson, Darian Connor, Matt Barr, Stanley Morgan, Pierce Holt, Ernest Biner, Danny Copeland with the Chiefs, Tyrone Braxton, Ray Horton, Eddie Murray, Maggot, Sterling Sharp, who made it to the Hall of Fame, alongside of his brother, and Doug Flutie. So that wraps up the packs here. I'm going to go ahead and move this stack of commons. We'll do a little recap. You're going to like, you're going to subscribe, and then I'm going to get out of here. Or so I hope, if I've earned it. So let's go over our defensive folks first. We have Tim Harris, Mike Singletary with the smash, Refrigerator Perry, Bill Romanowski, Reggie White, All-Pro, Woodson All-Pro, Lawrence Taylor All-Pro, Mecklenburg with the slam, Reggie White, Kevin Green. That's a print error on there. Do you see that? Yep, got a print error on that one. Lawrence Taylor, Singletary, Ronnie Lott. Gonna go over our receivers. Tim Brown, Keith Jackson on the All-Pro. Mark Ingram, Mark Carrier. There were several variations of Mark Carrier. Jackson, Tim Brown. Running backs, since there weren't very many. Barry Sanders, Herschel Walker with the ground force. Doug Flutie on the quarterback. Randall Cunningham. John Elway with the hot gun. And I don't know what the Largent record breaker was, but those didn't seem to be very common, so we're going to sleeve him up. And we're going to get to what I would consider the more high hits of the box. So, Rocket Man Jerry Rice, Rocket Man Art Monk, Neil Smith, Derek Thomas, All-Pro Jerry Rice, All-Pro Joe Montana, Crunch Crew Derek Thomas, Lawrence Taylor Crunch Crew, Derek Thomas again, Derek Thomas base card, Joe Montana All-Pro, Barry Sanders All-Pro, Bo Jackson with the record breaker, Joe Montana with the record breaker twice. So we did get some good hits out of that box. I still stand by. I think the Series 1 was a little bit better. But we got some cards we didn't have. Maybe. I think there were some in there I don't have in my PC. But I certainly appreciate you stopping by, spending some time with us. Hopefully you come back next time. But as always, thank you. And God bless.